All right, folks, joining us right now as I welcome you back, Alan Dershowitz, legendary Harvard law professor, Newsmax contributor, noted criminal defense attorney, and author of a brand new book, Electile Dysfunction, a guide for unaroused voters. Alan, congratulations on the book, one of the cleverest titles I've ever heard in my life. So
I am now, however, very aroused.
very good. All right, got lots to get to. Let me ask you this. If Donald Trump meant what he expressed yesterday when he said at the debate, you'll have to wait, I'll surprise you, we'll have to see if I accept the results, which was, I'm not signing away my right to contest an election. Al Gore did it. Other, lower elections it's done in, there's been contested elections. Isn't he right? Why should he pledge that no matter what the results, he'll accept the results without knowing what's taking place yet?
Well, Donald Trump always has two messages, one for his base. And he didn't say that to his base. He said to the base, I'm not going to accept this election. I'm not going to accept it unless I win. I'm going to reserve my right to reject it because the media is rigged, because the election's rigged. He wasn't talking to his base.
And based on where she's going.
He wasn't talking to his base about trying to challenge the election. Then his spinners, and he, when he began to spin, says, hey, I'm just Al Gore. I'm just Richard Nixon back in 1960 challenging Texas and Florida for recounts. There's an enormous difference between not accepting the outcome of the election and engaging in legitimate challenges. Remember, too, that Bush versus Gore was not Gore versus Bush. It was Bush versus Gore. It was Bush who brought the lawsuit to challenge the recount in Florida and to seek the end of the stay in the Supreme Court.
Okay. But if he had said it differently and didn't send the message, in your view, to his base, he has a legitimate right, like anybody else, to eventually contest an election, correct?
It said, in the end, of course, I will accept the election, but I will challenge any improprieties or irregularities the way it's done in the past. That would have been absolutely fine.
Okay. Now, if something should go to the Supreme Court, and the court is 8 members, and it's pretty much, pretty much along philosophical, political lines. If it comes to that, should Ruth Bader Ginsburg recuse herself from anything involving Donald Trump after she made derogatory comments about him and then admitted she was wrong and had to apologize for them? Could any decision of that magnitude ever involving her be taken seriously?
No, I think you have a point about that. But then again, Sandra Day O'Connor should have recused herself from Bush versus Gore because she told people when she saw the networks calling initially Florida for Gore, she said that's a disaster, and she walked out, and that was publicized, and she sat on the case. The rules are different for the Supreme Court. There are no rules for the Supreme Court.
Right.
They decide themselves whether or not to recuse themselves. And of course, Scalia didn't recuse himself, even though his son stood to get a job if Bush won the election rather than Gore. So the rules of the Supreme Court are the Wild West.
Right.
They decide whatever they want to do, and they're not bound by any code of judicial conduct.
No, but if Alan Dershowitz could look back on something or in advance of it say, yes, she should recuse herself, or no?
Yeah, I would say that generally, I would have much preferred to see a system where she would have to recuse herself, Sandra Day O'Connor would have to recuse herself, and maybe they wouldn't talk out so much. Maybe the end result would be justices would behave like justices, not like political figures, and not tell us. Justice Harlan, once he got appointed to the Supreme Court, said, I'm never again going to vote in an election.
Right.
I get one vote on the Supreme Court. I'm not going to vote in an election. I don't want any partisanship to influence my judicial decision.
Fair enough, but I'll just ask you one more time, just for clarity. So if a case does come before that court about this election, you would say she should recuse herself?
In an ideal world, she should recuse herself.
Okay.
Honor should have recused herself.
Gotcha. Alan, great talking to you, sir. The book, Electile Dysfunction, a guide for unaroused voters. And I hope we aroused your voting curiosity to read that book. Thank you, Alan Dershowitz. Appreciate it as always. Look, there's the book right on your TV screen, folks.